This is a wooden box. This wooden box has a keypad on it, which operates a code-operated lock. This is intended to be put on the porch so that packages can be put in it, and so that the porch pirates do not get the packages, as that's the thing that the porch pirates do. So if we were to look at this, again, this is code locked. This, which you might not be able to see, is a standard as well. This is a keypad replacement solution for a standard door, which seems to be working out okay. We're gonna do a close-up of all of this stuff, and we'll talk about some of this a little bit. There's two things which I'd like for you to take away from this view. The first is that this box, if I was to sell this to other people, I would need to charge probably $500 for this. You might think that's kind of high. I think that's kind of high too. I certainly didn't spend that much. I scrounged all these parts. However, if I was to make more than 3 of these or something like that, I probably wouldn't be able to scrounge parts for it, and I would need to be buying new stuff, which means I would probably need to charge $500 for this box. Kind of costly, maybe not such a huge deal when you think about it a little bit more. The second thing we'd like to take from this view is that if you build this in your basement, make sure you can get it out of your basement. This I was pretty close about that, but there's a bit of a mission creep in building this thing, and it's coming out of the basement, but it'll be a little bit tight. I might have to take this off to get it out peacefully. This handle, which is going to go on the lid, I cannot put on this thing and expect to get it out of the basement. I'll put this on outside, and that will be fine. This box, the purpose of this video is not necessarily how to make this specific box. It's more about the sort of general considerations with respect to the boxes, and a lean towards the fact that you're kind of on your own to produce these boxes, and some different approaches that people have done with these things. This box specifically was built from modified plans. The plans will be in the description below. They're actually very nice. There was a parts list, which I believe at this point thinks that the parts for this was $270. There's a nice video that comes along with it. It's all from Menards, which is a building supply place available in a good portion of the United States. You might not have that. However, you should be able to look at the plans for this. Again, those plans, let's see, that was more of a bench type thing, so I scaled this down a little bit, and we came in a little bit like that, and this is a bit deeper. This is a chest freezer. This is what's usually in the corner here where we're doing all this. If you'll notice, the dimensions are actually kind of similar, and I was thinking about modifying one of these to fit strawberries. I wanted something that was going to be a little bit deeper than this, but this is close, and this was actually a consideration, was to do something with that. If you can imagine, just gluing some wood pieces along here, and you can paint that up, whatever. Point is, these can be had for free, and sometimes people will actually pay you to take them out of their basement. It's a box. It's good. I think, this is plastic, but you can get these in metal, and they're damn near ready to go. But obviously, we went a different direction. So there's been a number of different approaches with respect to how to lock these boxes up. Really, you get any kind of box, it's a box. This code lock experience, maybe kind of complicated, maybe not kind of complicated. I picked this one in particular because the keypad can be separated from the mechanism. Initially, I had bought a code lock solution that had an integrated handle in it, and we could see them all over the place. Maybe I'll include a picture. The challenge was that it seemed unusually easy or possible to just knock the handle off and be gone with it. So this is this. If you've ever installed a lock on a door, this is kind of what you're looking at. Is where you have a big hole, and then this would be the side of the door. Whatever your thing is, be it a bolt or in this case a latch. This is obviously not sized out properly. Sits in there. So if somebody was to take the handle off or knock the handle off or whatever, here's a hole sitting here, and you have access to all of this stuff. Same thing with this, where if this is initially designed to mount in a situation like this, where if somebody crankled this thing off, there's a hole which lets you at the underside of this thing. This was unique in that you can separate the keypad from the mechanism. This is the Hugo log JU01, if I recall. I'll try and get a link to that as well. So this is a hasp. We'll just sort of look at it simply. One would put. It's a hasp. What are you gonna do? Let's just mount it up. So we'll just tape this on for the demo. But this is what a lot of people are doing with these boxes: is just getting a whatever box and putting a hasp on it, and then just leaving the lock open. And then when a delivery person comes in, they just take that off, open this up, put your stuff in there, and then lock that. And then that's it. Obviously tape, but and then that's locked. Two things that I don't like about that is that if you get multiple, let's say you get multiple deliveries in a day, these are people who could open this up and there could be a package from something else there. Whereas this renders the whole box useless until you open it up and take the thing out. This also telegraphs to evildoers that there's nothing in this box. There's obviously nothing in this box, but once you lock the box up, suddenly there's definitely something in there. Somebody has totally put something in there. Suggestion is, this is a really easy method to work with that. You don't have to share. You don't have to figure out how to get a code to anybody or any other drama like that. Suggestion is, this is obviously a hat, but suggestion is, if you just put something over that to where somebody just accesses that, it's not showing off whether this lock is locked or unlocked. Obviously, we'll use something a little bit better than a hat, but a hat happened to be the right color. And actually, that works out pretty well, it looks like in the video. But so there's that. The challenge, so there's a number of people doing stuff with codes. There's a number of people that will sell you boxes that use codes. Some are more expensive, less expensive, smaller, larger, whatever. But with respect to getting codes to delivery people, it seems like a pretty standard method is to include the code in the address line of your package. So we'll just, let's pretend that's a package. And I have my address on there, which is, blah, 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 blah. And then I can put in here, just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in this case, pound key at the end. And that's what the code is. I could put a note on here that says that the door code key is in the address line or the whatever. It's not the most secure thing, but you're going to have to get it to them somehow. And ultimately, if that's the code for it, they open the box up with the code and throw the package in the code, throw the package in the box. It's not like the code is sitting on the porch or anything like that. In this particular situation, I could change those codes up all the time. I can put multiple codes in there for different delivery arrangements, And this address, this FACO address line, I could change that with every package that I delivered if I wanted to. So this, it would be nice if there was a way to solidly get codes to delivery people. However, that's kind of how we're working. For a lot of people, this is going to be fine. You're getting one package a day, if even, and this will work out okay. You can put this on anything, and there's vast examples of inexpensive boxes that are actually pretty large that you could purchase and just put that on there and call it a day. Again, I'd suggest something like that, something the same color, so that you're not telegraphing to evildoers whether there's stuff in here or not. All right, so while we still got this view, I wanted to show you these. These are some I guess we'll call them sample joints that I produced for the purpose of this video. This box is put together with polyurethane construction adhesive and screws. I believe I used air nails on some of this. If you look at the attached video that came with the plans that this was based on, I believe they used exclusively construction adhesive and air nails, which is maybe not the best. Screws, if you're working with plywood and you expect at some point something's going to take a beating, that's not good. So this is a piece of plywood. The thing with the plywood is that plywood is sort of sandwich layers. So if we're using glue, this line is the only place where it's adhered to. Whereas if you use screws, it's going to be attaching through the full length of it. So this is actually, we'll break this thing. I should be able to break this pretty easily. Now, let's break it really easily. So that was not very challenging. And if you can see what happened here is that this just delaminated. This just delaminated. This one is particularly, and there's the piece that just came off of it. If you'll notice that this is the side grain where this is the side grain where the piece attached a little bit more, and this just peeled off. So that's the thing where if you're using exclusively adhesives on the plywood, probably not so great. These are inexpensive furring strips. These are actually the same furring strips that I used for this stuff. These are actually pretty cheap. These are actual solid pieces of wood. It's pine, but they're still solid pieces of wood, and they're not going to delaminate like that. This is still not great, but we'll try and break on these. And it would be cool if so yeah, I broke that, and you can kind of see what happened here. Again, the glue holds up great on these, but it's just your wood pieces fall apart. If you use screws on it, they're going to be holding up a lot better. This is a lap joint. I don't expect very much from this at all. Oh, maybe. Well, we'll do like that. Well, this is going to end in disaster, I can tell. Yeah, so that broke off. Again, not very challenging. The polyurethane glues are excellent. The glue, the glue was stronger than the substrate on these. However, if we did screws through this, it would have been excellent. So there's a suggestion. If you're working with the plywood, use the screws. So I realize that I can kind of go on about this forever and ever, or I can start to wrap things up a little bit. Again, this video not so specific on how to build this box, because I don't think you should build this specific box. You should probably build something that's more specific to your needs. At some point, I'm going to try and cut in pictures of different search terms and different images of different boxes that are pretty much ready to go, not very inexpensive, and you can kind of whatever. A couple of thoughts we leave with you is have cameras. Cameras are pretty inexpensive. Cameras aren't going to get your stuff back if it gets stolen. However, another thing that you get with the cameras is that you get to find out what didn't happen. So it's entirely possible that that package that you thought was, or that somebody told you was stolen off of your porch was actually never delivered in the first place. So you have to go through all the problems of trying to get your refunds back and the such like when it was never actually delivered. If you have cameras, you'll know that. If you have cameras and somebody does actually steal stuff, then you have some evidence of that which can be shared with the police. And if that's a continuing problem, maybe they'll have some concerns about that. Maybe not so much. Another thought with these is that these boxes, UPS, FedEx, Postal Service, Amazon, nobody has any standards for these kind of boxes, how they're supposed to work, how you're supposed to get codes, how you're supposed to get entrance codes to the delivery people, like you put it in the first place. There are some options. And Google, Amazon, whoever thinks that for some reason you're going to have a delivery person call your phone up while you're at work, and you can go, "Oh, hi, delivery person," and let you into the box. The delivery person is going to be there for half an hour waiting for you to pick up your phone. Totally rotten. I've seen a number of people who made boxes with these that have the training requirements on them. Try and limit the training requirements needed as much as possible. I may have done an okay job here. I may have done a bad job here. But the point is, it's a box. It opens up. It closes. A lot of people know what that is. There's a code thing there. Some people I've seen people who've produced boxes like this, which just have notes all over the place, and you're supposed to do the notes everywhere. And I talked about this being a finger pinch hazard. This should probably have a soft close option on it, and that's available. But here's the challenge with the soft close, is that they close slowly, and it takes forever for this door to close. And then finally, is it closed? Is it closed? Yes, it's closed. And then you can lock it up. If you've ever done any deliveries, or you know anybody that does the deliveries, standing around waiting for this thing to close, or having to read the manual every time you go on someone's porch, kind of a drag. So I've presented a few times throughout this video the concept of this box as being worth $500. More of a thought experiment than an actual thing. I think we all kind of understand that. But I'd just like you to consider maybe the idea of generally spending money on something like this and its value. Again, $500 is more of a thought experiment on this thing. I was recently introduced to the 10% rule, which is a suggestion about purchasing a safe. And the thinking is that if the items that you're going to put in a safe are worth $15,000, guidance should be that you spend somewhere in the $1,500 area to secure those items. This, if we were to consider as worth $500, that would suggest that the items stored within it are $5,000. I'm never going to order anything on the internet to be dumped in a box on my porch that's worth $5,000. However, over the course of a year or maybe even many years, that this is hopefully a successful solution, the value of items dumped in it might exceed $5,000 by quite a bit. There's an additional thing which you get from something like this is that we'll call it store avoidance, which means you don't have to go to a big box store to buy a bunch of the things, and the shenanigans, if you've ordered anything online and then later gone into the store to purchase it, the shenanigans are endless. This is something which helps you to avoid that situation. Another situation is where, in example, Amazon will send you things. There are options to intercept packages at locations other than your porch. However, you have to know how they're being shipped. With something like this, you don't have to know whether it's coming UPS or the Postal Service or FedEx to figure out how to get shipments stopped. Amazon in particular, I've recognized, charges different rates for things that can be delivered to their lockers. They're in place storage. They're code locked lockers, which they have at locations. They'll charge different rates for things going to the lockers than can be shipped to your home. If they can be shipped to your home, suddenly this becomes a little bit better. And again, with respect to not knowing how things are shipped, if you want to order stuff from weird places that ship different ways all the time, you don't have to think about that anymore. And whoever the delivery person is can just put it in there. So, in conclusion, I'm realizing that this video could go on for quite a long time about a number of different details associated with this experience. There'll probably be another video once this box gets put into place and there's some use cases for it. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to you creating solutions that work for you.